Welcome everybody to RightTool bi-monthly webinars, feature updates. Right now, this is the June update, and we will be talking about version 1.34.2. Is it 0.1 or 0.2? Probably 0.2 at this point.
Yep.
Okay, so table of contents, we're going to do a quick update on the RightTool retreat that's happening this summer. We'll do a quick summary of last webinar. A lot of people missed the last webinar because it was, I guess, so close to tax season. So I want to just catch you up with that stuff really quick. Then I want to talk to you about some interesting features that I've been seeing in a couple of my files. You might not see it in other files because they're doing a lot of beta testing. Quick note about Intuit Connect. And then we'll talk about the couple of features. Like this is going to be from the RightTool perspective is kind of light from a new features perspective, because most of the work has been really focused on catching up with all the changes. All the screens are changing, and that means that we have to reprogram and rework a lot of the RightTool tools. And folks from the Facebook group and via email and all the feedback forms are doing a really good job at letting us know what features break, what features are getting broken. Okay. So thank you. So I'm gonna really be thankful for that. Then after we'll talk really quick about all the dinners that we have programmed for our pro users. So Mark and I will be in different conferences in different places, and obviously if you're there, we would like to give you a nice dinner experience. And then we'll go back and talk about something we talked about last session, which is the new paid versions, the RightTool No Ads and the RightTool Pro Lite. Now, I also noticed that we have more than 500 people in today's webinar, which is capped. So actually, a lot of people can't even get in. I don't know. We've never had 500. So
yeah, I know. What's happening there? Did we do something?
I think the problem is a lot of people bring their AI bots, and that takes a spot, right? So like every single person with the AI bots takes a spot. And I see some people, the AI bots takes like 3 or 4 spots. So like that's becoming a huge problem. If you actually go through the list, there's a lot of AI bots in there. So like everybody that brings an AI bot is actually taking away a spot from someone else. So I don't know how we're gonna deal with that stuff long term.
Well, I might be able to. Unfortunately, I know it's annoying for people, but I might remove some. Well, if I can, maybe I can't.
Yeah, start removing some of the AI bots to allow more people to get in there. So go do it, Mark. All right.
I think maybe I don't have the permissions to do it, or I am too stupid to do it. One or the other.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna make you co-host, so you can start kicking out some of those AI bots, so some people can.
There we go.
There you go. Okay, so quick updates on the RightTool Pro User Retreat. We bought out the hotel, so there's no more hotel rooms, but we still have a couple of spots left if you wanna be an offsite attendee. So if you live in Winston-Salem or within commuting distance of Winston-Salem, or you can stay in a hotel close by, we have space for 5 more. There's a link in the slides. If you click on that link, you'll go to the registration page, right? So you just click on the link that's in the slides, and let me make the slides public as well. So let me put that in the live chat so you have access to that. Some people are saying that they don't have access to the slides. So check into the chat and you would see the live slides there. You can go into the slides and you have access to that. So if you want to be one of those 5 people that want to stay off site or want to commute to the Grayling in Winston-Salem for a RightTool retreat, go ahead and sign up. We have physical space limitations, which is why we only allow for 10 offsite people, and 5 people already get in there. Okay, it's going to be a really cool event, 2.5 days. We're going to talk about QuickBooks Online, RightTool discussions. Really, we're going to be doing a lot of brainstorming about what RightTool 2.0 would look like, or really what we're trying to call the ultimate accountant's tool. So I want all of us to brainstorm about, if we were to build a tool together, if we were to crowdsource the ultimate accountant's tool. And this could be something like RightTool. It could be something like, like Sasant to import and batch edit. It could be something like, something better or faster than QuickBooks Online, whatever. So what does the ultimate accountant tool look like? Like I don't even want to think about the current dimensions. I just really want to think about the open possibility. So we're super excited about that. Okay, so quick recap of what we covered on the last webinar update. And by the way, there's a link in the slides there for the video. Whoops. Which is the recording, right? So that's the 1 hour webinar that we did last week. And I just wanted to cover all the things that we talked about. So for free users, you now have the reconciliation transaction indicator. That feature was called a game changer back when we released it as a pro edition. We moved the new transactions button for banking and reconciliations to the free edition. We also moved the more detail in bank feeds. We had moved that to pro, and then we moved it back into free. We added additional features to the batch edit in reports, so you can batch edit line item accounts, so accounts that have items, which is something you couldn't do in any other context in QuickBooks Online. Custom fields, and then there's a little link in the slides there that shows you all the reports. So each of these are the reports that you could access, and then right here it tells you what things you can change. So you can change classes or locations, you can or tags in this case. You can change line item transactions. You can change the accounts in that line item transactions, customer projects in line items. So each of these reports, and we have videos to accompany these, but each of these reports are the report that you would click on to access the batch edit feature. And we've covered the mechanism of batch edit in previous webinars, but just kind of quick update for those that are just catching up. Those are really cool pro features. We also created a new pro setting called the Chart of Accounts Pro, or COA Pro, where we moved a couple of the features that were scattered across RightTool. So if it has to do with Chart of Accounts, it's going to be there now. So the reconciliation dashboard, and we added a really cool, what we called an Easter egg back in April. You know, that was the joke back then. And to show the last reconcile date inside bank feeds. And a lot of people love that feature. We also moved the Chart of Accounts filter and the Show All Accounts button to the new Chart of Accounts Pro, and we separated a create quick sub account and parent account changer and the new batch merge accounts feature all into this Chart of Accounts Pro. And then we added the Experiments Pro new feature called Project Names Editor. Very early beta. You know, we haven't looked at it since April, but we're getting some updates on that. So make sure you click on that video to get caught up with that. Now, I want to talk about QBO really quick before we go into RightTool. There's a lot of changes coming. They recently announced a price change update. So Simple Start is going from $35 to $38 a month. Essentials is going from, I believe, from $65 to like $75 a month. Plus is going from $100 to $115 a month, and Advanced is going from $235 to $275 a month. So there's an average of about 15% price increase on Essentials, Plus, and Advanced, and there's a small, tiny couple percentage points on Simple Start. So that lower price point, you know, the $35 to $38 seems to be where Intuit feels the market needs to have a price point for. So that's why we didn't see a big jump there. So it sounds like Intuit wants to be under $40 a month as an entry point in this industry. However, in the back of those price changes announcements, they also announced like what they think is going to be the new, quote, game-changing features. Okay, so the new game-changing features is going to be what they're calling, there's a little video introduction there, what they're calling the new agents. Now, I don't know exactly what that's going to look like. I'm going to give you a little bit of a preview of some of the things that I've seen, but it's not very 100% clear, you know, what that's going to look like once it's active. But we do know is that the word agent is going to be attached to features. And anytime you see the word agent, basically it means there's some AI component to it. So they announced this thing called the accounting agent to automatically categorize transactions, which that doesn't seem to be very new. I wonder, you know, what new spin they're going to be having to that, right? Detecting and resolving anomalies. So that's interesting. I wonder if they're going to like go back and tell you, hey, it looks like you have, you know, way too much meals and entertainment, or, you know, this vendor and payee, you're using a different payee that you haven't used before. I wonder, something like that. That's probably what makes the most sense. And then they also talked about automatic reconciliation of accounts. So I don't know what that's going to look like. However, I tell you right now, once Intuit solves the problem of automatically reconciling accounts, and not with messy accounts, not cleanup style accounts. I'm talking about like standard average business owner just started using QuickBooks, just started connecting the banks. Reconciliations starts happening automatically. Our value proposition as bookkeepers, accounting professionals is going to change significant. So we got to really keep track of what's happening, stay one step ahead of it, understand how it works, and then be the ones that are educating or guiding our customers through it, because you probably can't stop it. It's one of those really worryful things for a lot of people in this industry. Then we have the payments agent. I'm not sure what that is. Facilitate faster payments. I don't know how you're going to get customers to pay faster. I don't think AI can solve that problem. Finance agent, probably something where it looks at your data and suggests, you get a loan or something, right? Just kind of thinking through how Intuit is cross-selling all these things. And customer agent, that's going to be mostly for like helping you close sales or deal with leads, maybe capture leads from your email and create estimates automatically. Those are the things that I've heard. We don't know exactly what that's going to look like, but that's what they have announced. And then together with that, they have a link to a webinar. So I put the link in the slides, and Mark, just keep pasting the slide links there just in case can't see it. So there's a link to a webinar. I'm really interested to see what this is going to look like, this July 17th webinar. So I'll be there. I'll be up in the mountains in my vacation officially, but I'll be listening to this webinar, kind of trying to figure out what exactly is this whole accounting agent business and what that's going to mean to us. A couple of Intuit people are going to be running that webinar. So just be aware of it, so to speak. Okay, so now I'm going to show you a couple of things I've seen inside QuickBooks Online. And Mark, you probably haven't even seen this. So this will be a treat for you. Well, treat.
Yeah, I guess we'll see.
Yeah, for you as well. But okay, so we have, if you have a new bank feed screen, the new bank feed screen, the really the quickest way to know that you are in this new bank feed screen is going to be whether or not you see this button that says pending, posted, or excluded. I would say that's probably the biggest indicator. Okay, so if it says pending,
apart from the fact that it looks 1,000 times different from the original bank feed.
Yeah, okay.
Well, I guess in my opinion, I don't know, maybe other people have different opinions.
Fair enough. But remember, you and I are looking at QuickBooks every single day, and then we are judging its interface, and then we're trying to get it, to work with RightTool. Like our perspective might be slightly different.
That's fair.
Right. So I just wanted to kind of bring that out, because it wouldn't be totally obvious to 100% of people that you are in the new the new beta bank feeds page. Now you're going to see a button that says opt out of new banking page. So if you click on that, you go back to the old mode. So that's another indicator of the new one. Now I have another page here that I'm going to bring over here to the right, so you can see the difference. This is what Mark was referring to, a lot different. So what you see is it says for review, it doesn't say pending, and it says categorized, not posted. So like probably the two biggest differences. And then we'll talk about the interface, the actual categorization interface changes in a little bit. So that's kind of the premise. Now you also see a provide feedback button. One of the things that Mark and I have noticed about QuickBooks is when there are two versions of, sometimes 3 or 4 or 8, versions of the screen, and the version that doesn't say provide feedback is what they're considering the old version, the legacy version, the one that's not the new version. And anytime you see provide feedback, a big button inside the screen, I'm not talking about the provide feedback button that's here in the gear menu. That's your standard across the board QBO feedback button. We're saying a big feedback button inside the page itself. These are all the contextual feedback buttons where when you send feedback, the specific team working on the screen gets that feedback. So if you're going to give feedback specifically on this page, whether you love it or hate it, we're already seeing a couple of people in the chat. Just say love or hate. Just that way we can gauge how you feel about that, right? So, if you hate it, make sure you don't do it into gear feedback. Just do it in the contextual button, so you can specifically tell.
I'll be the devil's advocate on this. I don't think it's inherently bad. I do think it loads slower for some reason. I don't know what that's about.
It is slower. Yeah, it is absolutely slower. I'm sure about that. A couple of things that you will see significantly different, like in the old page, for example, if you wanted to attach a transaction, you would have to open the transaction and then click on add attachment. So it's sort of a two-step process, where in the new page, I'm gonna move this to the right. There's an attach buttons right there. There's a little button right there. So you can click on that and you go straight into attachments. Now, I not 100% sure, how important that is or not, but it is a significant workflow change. So imagine someone was sitting in here and just adding a bunch of receipts first up and then doing the categorization. Okay, that could be interesting. Once you upload it, it gives you a little number. So it says 1. Okay. So I like that. I like that. I haven't tried. Yeah. So somebody's asking, what if you click and drag? I want to click and drag something, see if it works. It's probably not going to work. Nope, it doesn't work. Okay. So to answer your question, click and drag doesn't work. Okay. If you click on that little 1, if you click on it, it extends the transaction. So it's not like obviously contextual where that 1 means view the transaction. Just basically anywhere you click in here, it just opens the transaction details so you can do it. But one thing I like is if it's a JPEG or a PNG, it shows it to you visually. So I like that, because I think that with the old screen, you don't get that. Let me see. Let me just double check here. If that's the case, here's the old screen. Yeah, the old screen, you don't get that. You get this little thing that says screenshot, and then you would have to click on it to see it here on the right-hand side. Yeah, I guess that's not terrible, but I kind of like seeing it. But there's also a catch-22 situation where now that you see it, now like the entire transaction takes the entire screen. So like now we have a humongous real estate problem. We're gonna have to like zoom out quite a bit, and then it becomes very difficult to read. So like I know it's like a sort of catch-22, and then we have here on the right-hand side just a bunch of white space, like useless, pointless, it's technically gray space, but a lot of white space. So that's kind of driving me crazy. So I don't know, that I think the designers do need to revamp this process a little bit. The other thing that I feel is a huge challenge with this screen is that, for example, on the old screen, if I get a transaction, I open a transaction here and I'm going to categorize it. I open up this gray space that's sort of like my little mini dashboard where I can pick, how to categorize it. I have my categorize button right there. It's contextual within everything else. I got my payee, categorization, or product, right? Which is fine, right? You can do either way. Location, class. So everything is in line. Everything is logical in one place. Like, as I'm working and I know exactly what I'm going to look at. In this new screen, it's all over the place. Conceptually is all over the place. So for example, I open this transaction and I'm seeing the category type, class, location, product or service, customer project. Okay, fine. This is all together. But where is my account categorization? Where is my category, my account? I have to go all the way here to the right. So like I need to know as a user, like instinctively, that I got some options here, and then I got to move my mouse over here to the right to pick an option. Now, I wanna explain what I think Intuit is kind of coming from. Is I think that Intuit's thoughts is the concept of someone selecting a category is gonna disappear. Like that a human being selects a category concept, that's going to disappear. I think that's what Intuit is betting on. That way you kind of see it off to the side. Because I think that Intuit's position here is that's the job of AI. Like a human shouldn't have to waste their time with that. Now I would disagree with that, but I think that's where they're thinking. Now, the other thing that's kind of interesting is it opens up this thing called top suggestions. And there's kind of a combination of things. So first you have, based on the full bank description, here's similar categories in your search history. So if you click on this little drop down, it does show you when you have used transactions similar to this in the past. Now, I don't know, I'm in Florida, so like I go to Publix and this is a supermarket. I don't know what does Publix have to do with this restaurant called La Perla. So I don't know how these things, like how are they relating one thing here to this thing here? I don't know how that's even relevant at all. So who the heck knows? Like, but I like the concept. Like tell me when I've used that vendor before, but don't tell me when I've used a completely unrelated vendor, which is pretty much useless to me. So that's weird. And it's also weird that I had to expand it. Like it just feels like an extra click. It just feels like a lot of work. Now this piece here, I love this, right? So this went on to Google or AI or whatever and figured out, okay, this is a restaurant specializing on seafood or whatever. I like this. This piece I find useful, but I feel there's all this wasted space to get to one little piece that's useful, and I don't know. I don't see a lot of the value on this. Unfortunately, I'm sorry, Intuit. I just don't see it. Like they used to have something in the old one that said categorization history. I don't know why I don't see it here. Maybe it's I have to select the vendor first. But the old categorization history, that was pretty cool. It opened up this little sidebar. It shows you last couple of transactions. It used to be limited to 20 to 12 months, and they recently extended it to 24 months. That's useful. Like I like that. I don't know why they went away with this. Like this is like finally when they brought 24 months, it's great. But now they're gonna toss that away and they give us this weird, useless thing. So again, I don't know. I don't know. Mark, what do you like about it?
Um, Honest to God, I mean, I'm not saying I really like anything specifically about it. I'm just more of the person who's like, I get it. Everything has to change in a way. I mean, whether you like it or not. Uh, and so it's like, I don't know. I'm not necessarily one to fight again. I realize that in my own opinion, I recognize that change is always annoying and my brain is always going to say, hey, this is a change, it's bad. So I have to
Sure.
fight myself to be like, no, it's fine, probably, until I
Yeah.
have more experience with it.
Okay. Fair enough. And now the categorization history button is still there, but it's a little bit hidden. So if I pick the vendor, right, from my payee list, and then I click on the drop-down menu next to post, then I see categorization history. So it's still there, but it's really hidden and just kind of drives me crazy. Okay. Like it feels like way too many clicks. Like I wish categorization history was, maybe, a button here already exposed in here. Didn't we fix that, Mark? Um, let's talk about what we fixed. Let's go into
We
bank
sh
fees.
I think all of our bank feed features should be working in there, with maybe the exception of the red text underneath, but I could be
Okay,
wrong.
I'm
Maybe
gonna
that
turn
actually is
on
working.
all the banking features and see what we have fixed, because it's hard to keep track of, like, okay, what have we fixed? So so only the quick create vendor here. That's the only thing I see active on this one. So we have
They might
to,
have updated this page a
yeah,
second
they
time.
updated this page. So if you go into bank feeds, let's go error prevention and turn those on as well. So we have the bank feeds pro features and then error prevention, both contain banking features. So let's go back into let's see what's working here. So let me open up one of these. Okay, yeah. So we have so the Google Memos working, the Perplexity button is working, the Quick Create vendor is working, but and the additional text is working. So we have some missing features that we're gonna have to work through to get it working on this page. And this is kind of what I meant by, it's like we gotta keep up with all these changes in all these new screens. And then this is what we talked about last week. The last reconciled date, okay, that's showing there. And then we got the last 4 digits on top of these boxes. So we have most of the RightTool features here in red are working on the new screen. We just have to work through a couple. Okay. Let me see. One more thing. I actually really like, so I'm actually gonna say good job Intuit on this one. I actually really like the new match screen. So when you go into the new match screen, and I think I want to say that this one's available whether you're in the new bank feed screen or not. But the new matching screen has this really cool customized button that allows you to choose which fields you're gonna see from the transactions that are going to match from. Of course, it drives me flipping crazy that the memo field is not showing. Like the single most important field across all of QuickBooks has always been the memo field, and it takes them forever to bring and expose the memo field. This is like the way you talk to the future you, right? The way you communicate with your future you put something in the memo so the future you knows what the heck you did. So not showing the memo here drives me flipping bunkers. In all screens, the memo should always show. I can't even start telling you how often I told people from Intuit this, but they've ignored it. But I like the fact that you have a lot of additional options on how you can display the information here. So you have the filter of the transaction type, you have the date range. Now, I don't like the fact that date range requires a click. Like, I think I would much prefer the date range to just be showing. I just find there's way too many buttons. Like, why do I have to click in date range to then do this? Or maybe we'll expose the date range somehow with a RightTool feature. So Mark, write it down, and maybe something like that we could do. I do like the search screen for this very long screens. The search screen is great. Of course, the search screen would be a little bit more useful if the memo was showing. The other thing that I can't, yeah, so that, yeah, we'll stop there. Okay. Any thoughts on this screen, on this new, or any issues you've had with this screen and RightTool, Mark?
I don't know specifically because I haven't really seen the new version of this. People are asking if if the filter on the customization stuff, or maybe not the filters, but the customizations, if that saves for the file or not.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's permanent. Yeah,
okay.
it's permanent for the file, not across all your clients, but for the
Yeah.
file. So when you come back to that, yeah. So
Gotcha.
okay, so yeah, so my biggest thing, if Intuit is watching, my biggest thing here is the memo. You got to show the memo screen, otherwise it feels a little bit useless.
And just to be
That's
clear, the new banks, they are not out yet on every single file. It's probably 10% or 20% of files, maybe at this point, maybe less than that, honestly, uh, have this new. So it's not, some people might not see it.
Yeah, and the other thing is this little resolve button. That's if you want to add, a difference. If there's a fee or something you wanna add, it's here on the left hand side. I think before it used to be there used to be a button on the right hand side that said resolve. So now I just have to remember that you gotta look to the left to do that. Like, I kind of wish they didn't change those mechanisms that we are so used to in our heads with muscle memory. So that's kind of like, okay, in the surface, let's call that the bad news. Now let's talk about the good news. Okay, the good news is this little button here called request more info. Now, this is bad news for other companies that have created apps to kind of solve this. Apps like, I don't know, what are all the apps that do that we have one called, I think, we
There's
have
Uncat, there's
Uncat,
Keeper,
Keeper.
there's other ones that I'm
There's another one
sure
called Digits, not Digits, but Deeds or something, or
it's in it, of
Zenit,
course.
Categorize
That
Me.
those are
Okay.
the three that I usually think of
Yeah.
as in it,
Yeah.
Cap.
So I would say quasi bad news for them. The silver lining is quick Intuit never gets it right at the beginning, but I mean, long term they do kind of get it right. But so I think apps like OnCat and Keeper will still be really powerful. But this is pretty cool. So you got this little button that says request more info. So if you don't know what something is, you'll click on this, and then you have two templates here. One is called ask for more info, and the other one is ask for a receipt. So if I click on ask for more info, it writes, can you add some details what this transaction is for? The other one says ask for a receipt. It just types in there, can you add a receipt? So basically it just does that. I can delete that and you can type whatever you want. What the heck is this, right? Whatever you want to ask another user. Okay, so you ask, what the heck is this? Now, one thing I wish they had is a little template here that said business or personal. So like, I wish so I don't have to type, is this business or personal? Is this business or personal? Okay. Okay, so I don't have to type that, right? So I wish there was like a little template there that said that. And then view list is to see everything that has been requested already. So I don't have to look at that. So I click on add to request list. And then there's another section inside bank feeds where all the other users in QuickBooks get access to that. So it's called the request area. Now, one of the things that they haven't developed yet, and this is where like companies like OnCat and Keeper just better at this, is that you didn't specify who you're asking the question to. You just ask it to the QuickBooks user universe, right? So it would be actually kind of nicer to specifically say, hey, I want to ask Mike, I want to ask Josh, I want to ask Mary or whatever. You can't. It just goes into the request list, and then both accountants and end users have access to the request list. I don't think that they have yet figured out the actual the collaboration mechanism. Like it looks like the buttons are working and the sequence of things is working, but the collaboration mechanism is not working really well. Now imagine you're the user or the end user, your customer, who's in this screen and has all the questions. So we have this one, is this personal or business? This one, is this personal or business? They can click on this little attachments button and upload a receipt. So just imagine that that's a receipt. So they upload a receipt, a screenshot, whatever, and then they say it was business, okay, or whatever, and they send it back. So now that becomes part of the permanent record. So when the user goes back and looks at it, they can figure out whether to complete it or not. There's a little complete button. It's not clear to me, whether the customer completes it or the accountant completes it. Like it still feels like up in the air. I'm not sure exactly who's in charge of completing this task. I kind of wish it was the accountant. There's batching, so I can select multiple here. And I don't know, no actions can be taken. I really don't know what that means. But if I select one, I can remove one. So I don't know what the batching is for. Maybe there's something broken here. Like what's the point of selecting multiple if I can't do anything with multiple? Okay, so I'm not sure what the point is. Maybe I missed something.
They
And
did
then
it
you
for
have,
our sake, actually, Hector. They're making it so it's easier for me if I ever want to build a feature for this.
right. So they give you the select all button, but they didn't give you the actions. I gotta love it, right? There are remove buttons here. So you can remove. They're grouped into the answered, answer, unanswered, and all conversations, including the ones that have been completed. Okay, and then kind of the purpose of this, and then the accountant can click up here as a send request. Let's say, for example, we got unanswered. We got a send request, and then you can actually draft an email. So I can say mark@monkbee.com, and you get an actual email with a list of the transactions. So that's what it does. So it does not automatically email the customer. It just adds them into the request list, and then you have to click on send request if you want to send them to the email. Okay, I know it's a lot of moving parts here, but that's what we got. Now the other piece that's interesting here is once the customer replies, adds an attachment or whatever, you're now going to see a little bubble here, a little talk bubble, like indicating that there's a history. There's a transaction history, conversation history. So when you click on that, then you get to see the conversation history and you get to see the attachments. That's amazing. Absolutely amazing. I love that because that contextually, then that means I don't have to click on the darn thing and then look at this ugly gray screen and deal with all that stuff. I could do my vendor and categorization on the fly. I can make that decision, fairly quickly, whatever decision I'm going to make based on what I see here. Okay. There you go. That was you who wrote this?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So there's the conversation, right, from the user. Now, did you reply that within QuickBooks Online or within an email?
This is actually interesting. It's within a portal that's not exactly QuickBooks Online, but
Switch.
not exactly.
Do you still have it open?
Yeah.
I switch to that. Show that.
Let's see here.
So this is when I send you the request via email. So can you kind of show what the email looks like?
Yeah. So email comes in. It looks like this, like transaction
Wait, your
questions.
screen's not showing yet. Give it a second. Hold on. Okay.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll come over here with transaction question, and then you open the portal and it looks like this. Now, the cool thing about this, the interesting thing, I don't know if cool is the right word, but it's interesting. I'm logged into a different QuickBooks file right now, but it's
You don't
letting me
have to log in.
access this portal. So that could
That
be
I
both a
like.
good and a bad thing, but it's mostly cool in my opinion.
It'd be interesting to see what it looks like on a phone. Okay, we might not have time in this webinar for that, but
Yeah.
like I feel that people, like customers, are more likely to take a picture of something and reply on their phone than on the computer, or at least speed wise. So I would love to see what this looks like, or how they have been imagining this process on the phone. Now, like I said at the beginning, I was criticizing a lot of the stuff on the new bank feed screen that I didn't like, but I call this good news. I think this is a humongous step in the right direction. I would love to know in the chat if
I think this is like
yes or no,
many.
you think this is a good thing.
Yeah, I think this is like many things with QuickBooks where it's like it's hard to say yet because when they come up with a lot of ideas, they're really good in theory, and then they drop it before they fully flesh it out to the point where it's actually like usable in day to day. I think if they can make it better, I think it could be like if they could continue to improve on it and not just be like, oh, it's out. I think it's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah,
Uh,
they should go and acquire Uncat, right? A company that's like focused on this for the past 5 years, get all that talent, get all that know-how, and then build this thing right? Because it just like almost like everything, it's just a patchwork of ideas, right? And almost everything is a wait and see type of situation. And it's just a little bit frustrating because you wanna do something significant, right? Okay. Now on part two of this, like good news, really cool things are coming. This one is blowing my mind. Now, it's not blowing my mind because I haven't seen this before, because I've been using an app called Money Thumb for, I would
oh, and
say,
do you want to share your screen now?
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. You stop sharing yours and I'll share mine. Thought I was sharing. But this one's super interesting, Mark. And then, like, I think this is the first time you'll see it. And only a very few accounts have access to this beta. But when you click on this little drop down menu under link accounts and click on upload from file, now if you're like I venture to say that no one really in this chat, or maybe a few people in the chat, have seen this. Put in the chat if you have seen this. So you get to you pick the account that you want to upload, right? So let's say I want to upload into this account, and in here I can actually upload a bank statement. What? I can upload a PDF bank statement. Okay. Now, again, I've been using Money Thumb for over 10 years. So this stuff, it doesn't like blow my mind, so to speak, because I've known the concept of taking a PDF bank statement, converting it into a CSV file or a QBO file. That concept is old. This is not new. Like those guys were doing real practical AI before AI was cool. But many times I don't have the .QBO file. I don't have the .CSV file. I have a PDF file. So what I would do is I would grab that PDF file. So literally it's the PDF file. I'm not uploading a CSV file or a QBO file. And this will replace companies like Money Thumb, and I forgot what the other companies, the other one's called, I forgot what it's called, PDF to QBO, something ProperSoft. Yeah, ProperSoft, DocuClipper, some people are putting in the chat. So it does technically replace that. Now, I'm loving this interface. Okay, so you upload the PDF, and then you have a thing here that's a statement detail. So it captured your dates, beginning date, ending date. Now, why they use, again, Intuit, for the love of Christ, have consistent date pickers on the screens. Like, why do some show the month first and the year first? That stuff drives me flipping bunkers. Just have a consistent date picking experience. It just is. They always do this. They always do this. Somehow, something with the date pickers, they just cannot get it right. Like they literally throw something at the wall and say, what type of date picker we're gonna have on this one. So like, get the freaking date picker right. It just drives me crazy. Anyway, so I got my two dates here. I have my beginning balance and my ending balance. I don't know what edited. I don't know why it says edit. I don't understand what that means. I mean, it means like maybe they added it and not me. But it's cool because you could double check that the dates are right, and it highlights the area in the document where you found it. That's super cool. I love that. Like I said, this is like probably one of the best, most innovative things that's in Intuit come out. Like this is like, I just bought like 100 more Intuit. Well, I don't know how many it was. A bunch of Intuit stuff just because of this. Okay. I'm exaggerating, but I would, if I had more money, I would. Anyway, so there's a little thing here that says inaccurate values found. So this is maybe it just double checking. I don't know if it's something with the maybe not sure about the dollar value. One thing that I kind of don't like is the fact that these numbers are left justified and not right justified. Again, I'm being anal, but again, why would we have consistent experiences, right? So these numbers should be justified correctly. So it just it asks you to double check. So you can go. So the ones that are not highlighted, it's 100% sure where it is. The other ones, I don't know why it's not sure. These are missing commas here. Like, I don't know why. Intuit, please put commas on stuff. Be consistent with that. So it just allows you to double check, and it just basically tells you, it shows you what it read. So I love this because it allows you to double check that this stuff is being done correctly. The other thing that I like that's pretty cool is instead of coming in with a check number here, if I happen to have a check image, I'll just type it in here, right? So Carlos Gomez, right? So that will save me a lot of time, because in the bank feed itself, I can see, it'll come in with an actual payee name. Now, when they do realize how to capture that information from the check image, that's going to be really cool. Unfortunately, I can't like select, so I would have to like manually type commercial properties of Miami. But once they start detecting that stuff from checks, that's going to be pretty amazing. And then up here, I can select all. So I pick the ones that I'm going to import. And then I click on import. Okay. And then I click on import. And then it brings it in as if you brought it in as a CSV or a QBO file. I just want to say, wow, like I not very often Intuit releases something, and right off the bat, it makes me say, wow, 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 wow. Amazing. I love it. Intuit, you're going in. This is like super duper in the right direction. This is how you say AI will save you time and truly do it. Like everything else, literally everything else QuickBooks has said AI this, AI that. To me, it has been, you're going to beep it. Okay, Mark, ready? Bull.
B.
Okay, right. But this really, really,
Okay,
this
I
really
didn't see
has
where you're
been,
going with it, so it kind of worked out poorly, but you know
yeah,
what?
it worked out. Okay, so those are the two things I wanted to show you about QBO. I'll probably spend way too much time on that, but I kind of wanted to give you like both sides of the coin. Awesome things happening in AI, weird, not so useful things happening in AI. In the slides, there's a link to Intuit Connect, Las Vegas, October 27 to 29. I've been to every QuickBooks Connect with except one where my son was born, so I couldn't go. Mark is planning to go. We're also planning to have a booth there as well. I don't know if I'm going to go. I may have a conflict with my other conference with Reframe, which is a week afterwards. So this might be a year where I don't go. So check that out. And Mark is going to Scaling New Heights, right, Mark? You got tickets for that?
Yes, I have tickets, not a booth there.
So no booth at Scaling New Heights. I'm not going to Scaling New Heights. I stopped going a couple of years ago. I always go to QuickBooks Connect, always promote QuickBooks Connect. This year, I might not because I have some, I prefer to be a reframe, let's call it that. Intuit Connect is where they try to sell you the tools that are going to replace you. And reframe is where I'm trying to show you how to not to get replaced. So reframe and Intuit Connect are kind of at odds of each other. And if I had to choose one, I'll pick my own conference, reframe. So anyway, I'll give you Mark, I'll give you the power to share so you can talk about finally 46 minutes later about the RightTool features.
Yeah, okay. Well, if we're gonna do that, let me get straight into it. No pun
And
intended.
while we're in the chat, while we're here and transitioning, put in the chat whether that was too long of an introduction of miscellaneous things before getting to RightTool or not. I just love to know if in future webinars I should curtail, the Hector stuff.
Yeah. So first thing I'm going to show here is so free features that are now or improvements to free features. We don't have any new free features, but we have we have some new improvements to it. So first off is copying info to memos in transactions. Say that 5 times fast. So what this is it's just a small improvement on something that's already existed. People were like, I love the fact that I can go from this description in here, for instance, and have that be copied into the memo. So if I did copy description to memo, it would pop up in here. But some people were actually also asking for a thing where if I said, this is a new thing, now you have a button down here to copy the memo to the descriptions. And so somebody said they can't see my screen. Is that true?
I can see your screen. So,
Huh.
I think it's just that person who has to zoom in or something.
Sorry about that. But yeah, so there's a thing here that now says copy memo to description. So that will come in here and it will just add this memo to the description text of each of the lines. So it's something that's available for people. Uh, so just kind of a little thing there that people were asking for. The other thing, and yes, I'm going a little faster than I would usually go, is going to be the sub columns button. So this is actually something that was asked for a long time ago, and this is very much still in beta for this particular button. I need people to come to me with feedback on this. Uh,
And it has to be the
so
old reporting system. It
it
can't be
does
the new
have to be the
reporting
old
system.
reporting
Yeah.
system. Yes. So we've always had this sub columns button right here that would basically remove all of the non-total amounts from a report. So you can see here we have like this total ABX, and then we have these three sub accounts inside of it. So sub columns would remove all those sub columns and only leave you with the total. Sub columns is a addition to that feature where now it will also give you the total amounts under the. I try to explain this
So it's
is
one layer of like it's one layer of sub accounts. You say.
yes, it kind of like does that same thing, but it goes one layer deeper in terms of allowing things to exist. So yeah, just something that I'm gonna need some feedback on. This is for nonprofits who are like, oh yeah, I have like programs and then I have, multiple things inside of that program. So hopefully that can help you out. And just
Yeah.
as a reminder, whenever you do anything with the visual side of reports, QuickBooks does not export it when you do anything with a normal export. You have to use the export to CSV that is in the red text right down here. That will export it with everything formatted the way that you see it on the
Well,
screen.
the word format. Okay, so it will collapse it. It will export it with the collapsed data, but
Yes.
it won't have formatting because the word format it's tricky, Mark, on
Yeah,
this.
that's a fair point. That's a
Yeah.
fair point. Yeah, it'll look basically like what the report does is what it comes down to. But yes, it is not formatted in the same way that QuickBooks usually uh, is usually done. This is
And is
actually a
this
free feature.
okay? Yeah, that's not. I can't clarify that. It's still a free feature. Okay,
Yes.
so
So yeah,
let's go with the pro features now.
yeah. Okay, so for the pro features, we have a few exciting pro features in here. So the first thing that I'm going to show, which is kind of funny because it's the last thing we put in, it was actually just recently, is the full account name display inside of COA Pro. So I'll just open this up real quick. That's this one down here right at the bottom of COA Pro in the settings. So what that is, it's very simple. It's literally just pretty much exactly what it looks like. Uh, Here you can now see whenever you have a sub account inside the chart of accounts, it will show the full name of the account instead of just the sub. This is good. For example, the reason I like the reason I say this is nice is let's say I have like 5 different versions of bad debt expenses. Now I can actually see, okay, even when I'm searching inside of QuickBooks, it will show me what the sub accounts are, even if the parent account doesn't show, which is kind of a cool thing in my opinion. Uh, so just kind of a cool little thing. This might be a free feature in the future, maybe. I don't know. But for now, because of the fact that it's adding stuff, I kind of was like, let's keep it in COA Pro for right now. We'll see how that turns out. Uh,
Yeah, that I don't call this a feature. I call this a fix. That's kind of a bug. It's a really weird bug fix that when you search something, the results don't show you the entire path, and it just
yeah,
makes it very confusing, especially when you have, like in this case, multiple bad debt accounts or sub accounts. You don't know which one you're looking at, right? So yeah, so it's
yeah.
more of a bug fix than anything else.
So that's kind of what I was thinking. Is like, I'm like, could it be something that's a free feature in the future?
Yeah,
Possibly. But we're just at the moment, I put it out quickly, so I wanted to have some testing on it before I made it a free feature kind of thing going on.
yeah.
Um, let's see here. Batch merge, and I think you added this one in
Yeah,
the.
I think we had there was some glitches with batch
Oh,
merge, and you did some improvements. You want to show that one really quick?
sure, yeah. So batch merging, it was kind of acting up weird when need to have that on customer list. That's a good point, Michael. Um, it used to be kind of weird where if you
Wait,
were merging
hold on a
sub
second.
accounts.
When Michael says we need to have this on the customer list, it's the same problem when you're in the customer list. When you search for a sub customer or a project, it doesn't show you the customer name. Is that the same? Is that the problem, Michael? Like, Mark, is that what you understood by that?
I assumed it's something about like projects in the customer. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we could
Yeah.
probably do this in the customer as well. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it's not really too much to show on this specific thing, but it used to be that if you had sub accounts, occasionally the merge feature would be a little bit awkward and it would kind of like stall out on you. But now you should be able to merge accounts. So I'm just going to use this home office. I'm going to merge all of these or these two things into it and say merge. And now those two accounts should successfully go into it, even though they were sub accounts to begin with, which was
Right.
kind of, I don't know, I don't remember exactly why it was being weird about that, but it was being weird about
No,
it.
it's working smoothly. Yeah. So this is like super useful for cleaning up, particularly useful for cleaning up chart of accounts. And this is like something that we're probably going to be spending a lot more time in. Like we're getting specific feedback. We're asking for specific feedback on chart of accounts. Like what are all the things that frustrate you about chart of accounts? We want to like make the chart of accounts something that we make a much more enhanced experience. So like this new one that he's going to show you, the batch edit is going to be like, oh, okay, I kind of see where you guys are heading with this. This one's like super awesome.
Yeah. So batch edit from chart of account or batch edit chart of accounts. This is kind of like what QuickBooks' batch edit is already in the chart of accounts, but it's in my opinion better. So what that is now if you go to quick batch edit, so just to be clear, this is something that already existed in QuickBooks. I'm going to click batch edit, and now there's going to be a red button here that's also popping up. Uh, so I'm going to click on batch edit here, and it opens up a RightTool window. So what happens here is I can export either just the current page we're on of the chart of accounts if I want to just edit what I'm currently in, or you can export the entire chart of accounts at one time if you want to. The difference between the two is that, and I have one already opened up for the current page. If you open up the current page, we can show you what the account type is, which is kind of helpful for numbering purposes, if that's what you're trying to do. But we can't show that if we do the entire page. There's just it's back end reasons. We can't do that or the
There is a
entire.
workaround for that, which is you turn on the other feature where you click on show all accounts that shows, I
Yes.
think, 1,000 accounts, and then you can expose the current page only.
Yeah. That is also, yeah, that is definitely a way you could go about doing that as well. So that's a great point. Once you have this exported account list out, you can just come into here and I've already edited these. So you have a thing that says line number, and account name. Um, I will tell you that the only two things that matter is account number and account name. Everything else is informational. The only and also this do not edit column, it's kind of self-explanatory. Do not edit it. So just be aware of that. That's a thing that you don't want to move this at all. This is literally how we identify which uh, area it is.
Yeah.
If you
So to be clear, you could change in batch in from a CSV from an Excel file, account number and account name. The
Yes,
identifier is the one that says do not edit, which is what's called the account ID. So all your history, all your transaction history is tied to the account ID. So that's why you can't touch that.
yeah, exactly. And once you paste it into here, you just have this little window that just has everything showing up for you. It just says like which line, what the account number is, and also what the original full name is. So again, just more information available for you.
Yeah.
And once you press update, it'll actually check to make sure. So in this case, I've only updated 21 account numbers. So if I press OK, it'll go through.
Oh, so if you have if your spreadsheet that you're importing has a bunch of stuff but has no changes, it'll ignore those and tell you I'm only gonna update
Yes.
the changes.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, that's great.
So if you don't see the batch edit, I don't remember if this is an experiment. Okay, so this might be turned off by default. That's my bad for not clarifying that at the beginning. So this is an experimental thing that might not be turned on for you.
And Patrick's asking, can you merge accounts through that batch edit tool? So the answer is no, correct. There's no way to merge.
Not at the moment. It would require a very different type. I mean, it could be done if that's something that people are like, I want to do that, and for whatever reason, the batch merge, which I can understand, is
It's like, I'm listening to it, and I'm usually pretty quick at thinking through this. The mechanism in which you communicate that merger is not very clear. Like, what would that look like in the spreadsheet? So I don't know.
yeah.
Yeah, not sure.
I guess that's a fair question. There had to be some like confirmation of like, hey, merge. Like I know I want to merge accounts or something like that. That might be something we'd have to do
Yeah.
if we did that. So you got a good point on that.
Can you demo whatever we have kind of functional from the timesheet import, or should we wait until the next webinar?
I am fine with demoing it. This is just something where so this is the next thing is batch enter timesheets. This is also an Experiments Pro, so you won't see it unless you turn it on, I'm pretty sure. Um, this is also
And this has
something.
been a white whale that we've been chasing for a very long time. It's very difficult somehow to get into timesheets.
Yes, well, it's a mixture of two things. QuickBooks is updating them apparently right now, kind of, and also just in general, the way that the system works is different from anything else that exists
Right.
in
And there's
QuickBooks.
17 different versions of timesheets. And if you have QuickBooks Time turned on, it looks different. And it just everything's a mess.
Yeah. Which does get me to the point, which is that this feature will not break anything, but there's a chance that it might not work. That's why we have it in Experimental Pro. We're working on making it so that it is both more consistent, and if it does let you, if it does tell us that something didn't work, we'll try to inform you that it didn't work. But the good news is it won't break anything.
Right. And we're open to doing one-on-one Zooms to kind of watch your screen, your system, to kind of see if we can figure out. Again, this is one that's until Intuit has a single timesheet screen, it's going to be very challenging for us.
Yeah. So in this example, um, I already have a Excel that has the names of the users, the dates, the hours on those dates, and all of this. Wendy, this is inside of RightTool options and Experiments Pro. So you have to be a pro user, and you can access the options page by going to the settings.
Yeah.
Also, common misconception, we are not associated with RightWorks.
Yeah, but I think
Uh,
Wendy's question is how this works in RightWorks. This is when you're logged in remotely.
oh, okay.
But the thing is that usually with QuickBooks Online, you don't do a lot of stuff remotely. So I'm not sure exactly what you meant by that.
Oh, that's fair. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I have this timesheet basically data inside of here. You can see that I'm missing some of the data. Uh, and so even if you have some data missing, you can still put it in just like this and say, this is the time, this is the person. And it works just like the paste from Excel, essentially. So if there was something that was yellow, let's see if we can make something yellow here. Yeah. Then you can edit it from directly inside of here. And I'm just going to press paste. And this is Andrea's thing. So we shall see. Apparently, the one time I want to test this out. Oh, now you do it. Okay, fair
Yeah.
enough. I
Yeah. So
accept.
the way we designed it is after you're done pasting, it should in theory open a new tab with the report of the timesheet period equal to the date ranges that were in your spreadsheet.
Yes. And
That's what we're doing. Yeah.
yeah. So you can see here it opens up this report, so it shows you that the time has been entered incorrectly, and also the page refresh. You can see inside of here all that time from Andrea because you can only in QuickBooks timesheets see one employee at a time. Uh, you can see that
Yeah.
the information is put in there.
One thing I kind of like to see, can you go back into the paste from Excel screen?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. One thing I'd like to see, go ahead and paste something there. I like to
Yeah.
see something in the bottom, kind of letting people know what to expect. This one's a little bit Yankee. So it's like, a new tab, after you import, a new tab will open and show you a report, and be patient. The current timesheet screen is going to refresh. Okay.
Yeah, that's
Um,
fair.
Yeah, because it just like it just feels a little janky, right? And it's just I want to just want to make sure that that it's just clear to the user. But this is great. Importing timesheets is great. The other part that people are gonna be asking is, am I limited to importing just a week? So no, what we do is without you looking at, we'll go into each timesheet week and put the information there. It's just the interface in which we're doing it is in the weekly timesheet because that's the only like timesheet screen that's logical to add this little pop-up in. Okay. But the reality is that whatever you like, you can have things from last year, from 10 years ago, from the future, everything will import. Like we'll do on
Yeah.
the back end, we'll do all that stuff, but it's not limited to the week you're looking at. It's just we have to be on the week to do that, and then you have to have the data in Excel, like in a spreadsheet. Like you have to have something that you can
Yeah.
copy and paste.
Let me make sure about something. Yeah, okay. Also, if you're ever like, oh, I don't know what the formatting of this spreadsheet needs to be, we always have this thing at the top that says export all list data. Uh, yeah. And you can, again, Stacy, that's what he's kind of saying is you can do or you can do this for multiple weeks. I don't know if it's batch edit. I guess that's a separate issue. Uh, but yes, if you ever are wondering about what the template needs to be, if you do export all list data, the headers will be exactly what you need. And as an extra bonus, it'll show you all of the service items, classes, locations, customers,
Yeah.
all that stuff.
And to be clear, we don't edit the current week. We just add more time entries. So if you already
Yeah.
have that week there, you have 40 hours that week, and you import additional 40 hours, you will see 80 hours. Like we don't go in there and replace the weekly timesheet. We just add additional timesheet entries. That's correct, right, Mark?
I am 90% sure.
Yeah.
It's been a minute.
Yeah. But that's for now, that's the information until we override it.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, Mark. Again, if you tried this timesheet import, go ahead, give us some feedback if it's working weird with you. Again, that's why it's still experiments. Okay, so let's wrap this up. If we have any pro users in New York City or close to New York City on Sunday, that's like 5 days from now, 4 days from now, on June 8th, email me. I'm finalizing restaurant reservations. We've got like 14 people already. We have the table size, but the restaurant has another room with like up to 20. So I like to have up to 20 people. So if you're in New York, close to New York or whatever, email me and we'll add you to the dinner list. It's the only day that will be in New York. We don't put in the chat a whole bunch of places that you want me to go to. That doesn't work like that. Okay. This is where we're going because we have events over there. People all the time go, hey, what about Vermont? What about this? No, this is where I'm going. You come, if you're there, come hang out. Okay. Um, the Mark is going to Scaling New Heights. We're gonna set up dinner in the Orlando Disney area on Wednesday, June 25th. So this is after the conference ends, and this is outside the conference property. We're gonna send an email invite for that soon. The one in Winston-Salem that's sold out, unless you're coming. If you're coming to the event, obviously dinner, lunch, all that stuff is included. Mark will be most likely in Las Vegas at Intuit Connect Aria Hotel. So we're gonna probably do it on. Well, Mark's probably gonna do the dinner on Monday. This usually is the biggest. We had like 40 people last year.
Yeah.
And then if you are in Miami on Sunday, November 2nd, we will both be together at the reframe event. So we'll have one email, multiple emails. One more thing I want to add before you disconnect. If you're planning to, okay, let's put it this way. If you were wanting to go to QuickBooks Connect and let's say you can't afford it, or the $800, $1,000 is too much, it was outside your budget, we are going to buy a couple of QuickBooks Connect tickets. We're gonna, once we figure out, if we're gonna sponsor or whatever, to see how many tickets we have allotted, and then we're gonna raffle them off to pro users only. So I would say probably closer to, I would say August, end of July, we'll send an email to all the pro users and give you the ability to enter the raffle. The way we're gonna do it this year is to enter the raffle, you just have to make a 30-second to 1-minute video about why you love RightTool, which we will use in our website. We'll put it there. This will be our video testimonials. So we want the super fans, and then we'll know how many total we're giving away. Probably we've done 2, right? We've done 2 the last time.
Yeah.
But we'll probably, I don't know. We'll see how many we have allotted to as sponsors, if how many we're buying, all that stuff. But we want to do that again this year. We've done this 2 years. We've done this already. And everybody has loved it. Like the few people that have gone, they come to us and they thanked us and they told us it was a great experience. So we're gonna have that. So I want to make sure that you are aware of that. If you are a free user, you might want to try the new no ads edition. So it's $10 a month or $60 a year. It's just like the free edition, but it gives you the ability to back up your settings on the server. So if you're using multiple computers, you don't have to have multiple computers behave different with RightTool because you have different settings. So that's that's going to be the big thing. And second, if you are paying us and not using the free edition, you are supporting RightTool. So if RightTool free has given you tons of value, and maybe it's time you pay us $60 a year and get a little bit extra and don't get ads. Okay. So that's already active. So if you go to righttoolpro.com, that option is there. The second option that let me just sign out here for a second. So this is only for free users. If you're a pro user, none of that stuff, this stuff doesn't matter to you because you're a pro user. You'll probably never stop being a pro user because you already see the value. But so that's the $10 edition, or if you switch to yearly, it's $60 a year. So that's our edition. That's our version of a paid edition. And if we were ever to kill RightTool free edition, which is not, it's not within the horizon right now, but if we ever were RightTool free would become the RightTool no ads edition. It's pretty low cost and it has some additional value. We are testing a new RightTool Pro Lite feature that we're targeting to be $35 a month. We're not recommending current Pro users to switch to Pro Lite, although you can, because it's not going to be the exact same thing. So what we're testing is, and we were supposed to have this ready in May, and our tests weren't working. So we're going to take more beta testers come in. The way this is going to work is going to be just like Pro, but you can only turn on one Pro feature at a time, right? So this is for people that use the free, but they need that one batch entry that one time, right? And they don't want to pay $75 a month for their RightTool Pro because they only need that one feature that one time. So that's what Pro Lite is gonna be. We have a link. We have a JotForm link if you want to be part of it. As soon as we have it ready, we're gonna email you back. We haven't released it. Like we had like 40 or 50 people that signed up. We haven't released it because our internal tests weren't working out. So probably in the next couple of weeks, you'll get an email with a mechanism to do that. If you already are a pro user, I don't go through this because it's going to mess up your workflow. This is going to be mostly for like free users kind of wanting to test this out. We're going to test this out as $15 a month. We got to get you to pay something, right? We want to make sure it's valuable for you. And you're going to test it out for 3 months, July, August, and September. And as soon as we're done with that test, we'll give you the rest of the year of RightTool Pro Lite for free. So basically you're getting, 6 months of a $35 a month thing for $45 in total. So that's kind of like how we want to treat our beta testers. You pay a little bit to make sure it's valuable, but in exchange, we'll give you a couple of free months. And then, once we iron out all the kinks and stuff, it will probably start in 2026. It'll go to the public. We'll go to free, no ads, Pro Lite, and the Pro Edition. The current Pro Edition is $75 a month. We have users that bought this long time ago, multiple years ago, last year, and those will stay at the old price. But all the new users are buying at $75 a month, and the new edition of Pro is Pro Plus. So that's what we're calling it, Pro Plus. So everybody else on Pro is on Pro Plus. So that's it. We went a little bit over, 12 minutes over. Thank you very much for the folks that stayed. Again, for the folks that are in the free edition, just go to righttoolpro.com and register. I'll put it in the chat here if you wanna try this. So if you can do either yearly for $60 or $10. Again, if you already are on Pro, it's not for you. But if you are on free, you want to give this a shot. See, no ads and be able to back up your settings if that works for you. Support the RightTool ecosystem. Mark, I'll leave you the last words.
I think the only thing I have to say is thank you guys for showing up, and thank you guys for all of the ideas that you guys send our way. especially because let's be honest, I'm not necessarily going to be the person who knows what the best thing to put in is. So I really appreciate everybody's contributions. I like to think that this is not just a me and Hector product. I feel like this is an everyone product.
Right.
Um,
This is
yeah.
our product. This is our product. Yeah. The accounting bookkeeping community, we own this product together. Absolutely right. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful day. I'll see you in a couple months.
Yeah. See you, everybody.